These two thugs posed as rescue workers to get close to the man's family and rob them. But his wife sprang into action, unleashing a fierce barrage of blows to protect her husband and child. The thieves were no match for her. They fled in terror. A bold and shameless robbery took place on a deserted street when a man riding his motorbike was suddenly approached and cornered by two criminals. One of the robbers, clearly aggressive, began threatening him and rummaging through his belongings. But what the thieves didn't realize was that karma was already on its way. From a distance, an unmarked police vehicle quietly rolled onto the scene, and within seconds, plainclothes officers sprang into action. The robbers had no time to react, no chance to flee or make excuses. They were swiftly overpowered and forced face down onto the pavement, with justice closing in fast and hard. The couple was enjoying coffee at a sidewalk cafe when a guy suddenly approached and pointed a gun at them. In a flash, the husband lunged forward, grappling for the weapon. His wife moved with perfect precision, stepping back smoothly, drawing her own gun, ready to protect her husband. Caught off guard and outmatched, the would-be robber panicked and turned tail, fleeing the scene. This situation is a powerful reminder to stay alert when parking and always be aware of your surroundings, especially in isolated areas. A man was sitting in his car when a stranger casually walked up and suddenly pulled a gun, pointing it directly at him in an attempt to steal both his money and vehicle. But the would-be victim was sharp and ready. In a split second, he reached for his own weapon, turned the tables, and forced the armed robber to flee for his life. A tense moment and a clear message: stay alert, stay prepared. This man was casually chatting with the female cashier when, out of nowhere, an armed robber burst through the door. But it took him just 1 second to draw his gun and take control of the situation. In a flash, he had the robber pinned down and forced flat on the ground. The cashier, calm as ever. She simply picked up the phone and coolly called the police, as if this were just another day at work. These three men were just walking down the street when suddenly, two guys on motorbikes came speeding toward them. Without warning, one of the attackers pulled out a gun and aimed it straight at them. But before he could even announce the robbery, the tables had turned. In a flash, the would-be victims reacted with lightning speed, completely flipping the situation. Caught off guard and overwhelmed, the would-be robbers panicked. They dropped their motorbikes and fled the scene. It was a bold and dangerous armed home invasion. But luckily, the intruder failed to notice the man quietly sitting inside. In that split second, the man had just enough time to react. He opened fire in self-defense, rescuing his friend who was being held at gunpoint. The sudden counterattack forced the thief to flee for his life. A robber on a motorbike sped toward the parked car, pulled out a gun, and threatened the young couple to rob them. But the woman remained calm. Without panicking, she quickly stepped away from the scene. She knew her man would take control immediately, and she was right. Within seconds, the thief was on the ground, begging the man for forgiveness for his foolish actions. These two guys noticed the unattended motorbike, and greed immediately took over. One of them jumped off and tried to steal it. Just as he was running away, the man from the house rushed out, pointing a gun straight at him. Terrified, the thief panicked and fled, while the man hadn't even fired a single shot. A daring robbery took place on the street while a man was chatting with his daughter. Suddenly, the thieves rushed towards them. The quick-witted girl immediately ran away from the scene, while the father calmly slammed the car window shut and acted right away. Turning danger into opportunity, he showed unwavering determination to protect his daughter at all costs. He is a hero, a father ready to defend his child at any moment. This woman was a police officer off duty when two robbers on a motorbike came speeding toward her. The one on the back raised his gun, aiming it straight at her. But in that split second, he realized his deadly mistake. In a flash, the officer drew her weapon and pulled the trigger. The gunshot rang out. The robber collapsed to the ground in panic, then staggered to his feet and fled in terror. Without a moment's hesitation, she chased after him, but he managed to escape. The criminals, however, were captured just a few days after the attack. The armored car carrying the bank money is parked and the security guard was walking towards it. He calmly opened the door like every day. A guy in a white hooded shirt ran up and pointed a gun at the security guard. He wanted to rob the money truck. The fight lasted for a few seconds. The security guard defended himself well and defeated the robber. With the guard's ability to read situations and excellent reflexes, the robber decided to run away with his teammate. It was just another ordinary day at this clothing shop, until three men suddenly switched roles from casual customers to armed robbers. One of them pulled out a gun, pointing it straight at the shop owner and demanding money. But the owner didn't flinch. Calm and composed, he stood his ground and faced the armed man head-on. It didn't take long for the would-be robbers to realize they had made a huge mistake, and by the end of it, they walked away with nothing but a harsh lesson they won't forget. A seemingly ordinary day at the young woman's small fashion boutique was suddenly shattered when two armed robbers burst through the door. One of them, arrogant and cold-blooded, pointed his gun straight at her, demanding money with a sneer. Terrified and frozen in fear, she could barely react until her husband appeared, descending swiftly from the upper floor. Without hesitation, he fired his weapon to protect her. His rapid and decisive action saved his wife from imminent danger. Moments later, the police arrived, quickly pursuing and apprehending the remaining criminal.